Hi everyone, welcome back. So today Bitcoin finished out in the green, miners finished out in the red. I think it's because of what happened over the weekend with Bitcoin going down in price, down 2.75% or something like that. Miners reacted to that today, but we have quite a few things to talk about. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We're back into the swing of things. I didn't do a show yesterday because I was dead tired. I was working in the yard all weekend getting my landscaping ready for mulch, and I was just too tired. Didn't have the energy in me to do it, and I'm like, if I don't have the energy to do it, why do it at all? But here's what we got today. So we're going to talk about, obviously, Bitcoin miners price action today. Miners selling Bitcoin. We're seeing more and more of those coming up here. Mawson and Riot updates for April, and then we also have Strategy and Semler continuing to buy. How much did they buy? We'll talk about that. Arizona governor disappoints, but there might be more bills on the way. We'll talk about it as well. Cleanspark has some headwinds at, gosh, I can't remember the town there that they're trying to get to in, what is that, Tennessee? And also we'll take a look at the Bitcoin miners over last week. How did they perform against Bitcoin and all of that? And then we'll get into Q&A. So it's going to be a full pack show here. So as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, retirement only. Full disclosure below that. As always, do your own research. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin now and the miners as well. So if we move over to here, we can see here, where are we at? Bitcoin here. Did finish out in the green today. It was up approximately 0.49%, almost half a percentage there. It closed at 94,733, but we did go down on Sunday. We were down 1.66%. On Saturday, we were also down 1.1%. As a result, we were down 2.75% over the weekend. Hence, the miners were down today, it looks like, because of that, with Bitcoin being down. But Bitcoin did pop back up here. Markets were also down today. The interesting other tidbits of it here was the US 30-year notes are actually kind of peaking here a little bit again. I mean, we got up to close to, what was it? The 30-year got up to a high of 4.939%. So something's happening there. The 10-year treasury notes or bonds were also up as well, 0.95%. Dollar's up a little bit here as well over the last couple of days. Well, we had a downfall, but we're overall up a little bit. And then let's see here, gold is starting to come back up as well. And what else do we have here? Where's our crude oil? Crude oil is, there's one of them. It's down to 57, so that's not too bad. And $58 for U.S. crude oil spot as it is. So kind of interesting that those are pumping here a little bit. Markets were down today as a result. I don't know if it was that or in general, but Bitcoin is now down again here. It's coming back down. It's down half a percentage point, roughly. So miners were all down except for CORZ. CORZ was up just a little bit here, 0.1%. Bitfarms was down 5.1%. BitTF was down 6.5%. Cypher down 5.7%. Cleanspark down 8%. Touching that 50-day simple moving average and kind of bouncing off of that. So maybe that's going to be our support here. We'll see. CORZ, like I said, was up just a little bit, still above the 50. And then Hive obviously came down in the 50 as well. It was down 3.91%, kind of slightly bounced off of it. HUD 8, same thing, coming back down to the 50. IREN was down 5.21. Sorry, HUD 8 was down 7.5. IREN down 5.21. Mara was down 9.6. I don't know if it's based on the production update or what, but that definitely went below the 50 here, and it kind of closed right at the 50 here on it. Riot was down 5.84%, also came down, touched the 50, and bounced off of that. So maybe that's going to be support, and Wolf was down 6.85. MicroStrategy was down almost 2% here on the day after having many, many green days, which was nice to see. It got up to 403 as the high, and it's been coming down. A little bit of pullback. I think it's healthy here, but MicroStrategy did buy some more. And what are they running on? They're looking to get another 42 billion or something like that to buy some more Bitcoin, which is just crazy. Galaxy was down a little bit. What else do we have here? Small miners were all down. Any was down just a little bit here, to Canon being down quite a bit, 9%. And then the ETFs were down as well, 3%, 4%, almost 5% there for DGHI as well. Okay, so that's it, what's going on there. If we look at Bitcoin here for the month of May, we're still up about 1%. Last time I updated this, which was probably about a half an hour ago. So we're still in the green for May. We'll see how long this lasts. Hopefully it's lasts through the whole month. And then Bitcoin ETF inflows are looking pretty good here. Yes, on Friday we had 674 million inflows. We had on May 1st 422, about a little bit over $1 billion in inflows into Bitcoin on those 2 days. And then today we'll probably get a negative unless we get some inflows from BlackRock reported later on. We'll see how that comes in. We do have some good news stories potential here. And the one kind of down story is obviously Arizona. Governor vetoed the SBR bill for Arizona. So Arizona still has 2 more chances to be the first in the nation to establish a Bitcoin reserve. The most likely to pass is HB 2749. It was authored by Jeff Weninger, and it offers a budget-neutral method to fund the reserve using profit from unclaimed property fund. Okay, kind of interesting there. So Arizona's Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs dashed Bitcoin's enthusiasts, hopes that Arizona would become the first U.S. state to invest in the world's largest digital currency. On Friday, Hobbs vetoed a landmark bill that would have allowed the state treasurer to allocate up to 10% of the pension fund assets into digital assets. In a brief explanation for the veto, Hobbs described Bitcoin as a truly untested investment that has no place in the state's retirement system. It's been around for, what, over 12, 13, 14 years, whatever it's been, and over the longer time frame, if you look out, it has nothing but appreciating value. So it does definitely go down at times, but we might be getting into a different cycle here this time around. Kind of short-sighted there a little bit. But continuing on here, but pro-crypto Republicans in the Senate state legislature aren't backing down just yet. Two more bills, one similar to the first one, and another one are awaiting Governor Hobbs' decision, and one of them may have a better chance of gaining her approval. The bill in question, HB 2749, would allow third-party exchanges like Coinbase to transfer unclaimed cryptocurrency to the state in its native form, rather than liquidating it as it currently required by law. It mandates that all unclaimed crypto be held in its original form, and according to Representative Jeff Weninger, the bill's author, the state could establish a reserve fund using the yield generated from staking those assets. Proceeds from staking, along with any airdrops, would be directly directed into the reserve. So, not the same thing, but it does give them a way to possibly get Bitcoin on the reserve there and other assets as well. But I'm not sure what they mean by unclaimed. I'm guessing unclaimed meaning for how long, right? That's kind of scary there a little bit. If they're saying unclaimed, would that be after 50 years, or would that be after 2 years if it's on an exchange and you haven't touched it? Would that be considered unclaimed at that point? Kind of need a little bit more clarification on that, what they mean by unclaimed crypto to be held in its original form. Because some people might have coins laying on exchanges for a number of years where they just, are basically hodling it. And if it becomes unclaimed after 2 years, well, that's not good. That's why you probably want to put it on your own wallet, personal wallet, something like that. Okay, so there's still a possibility that this happens. Small possibility, but still a possibility. Next state up is going to be probably Texas. Texas might actually take the cake on this and actually be the first state to offer SBR. We'll have to wait and see on it. Here's a little thing from Matthew Siegel. The U.S. labor market continues to slow. Rate cuts are coming. That's, I guess, his thinking about this. And this is job openings divided by unemployment. March was 1.02x on it. So you can see that is coming down here. And that's what's making him think that rate cuts might be coming as well. We're seeing that kind of happening as well. I've seen other stories that we're looking at maybe 3 rate cuts this year, later on, possibly July, August, and then I think September, October, one of the other months that we might be looking at here because of the tariff impacts and things like that that are going to be happening down the road, which then could bode well for Bitcoin. Anytime we get tax cuts or interest rate cuts, that kind of pumps Bitcoin a little bit here. So we'll see. Maybe that third quarter is going to be really good for us. Next year, obviously, is Strategy. So Strategy has acquired another 1,895 Bitcoin for a total of 180.3 million at 95,167 per Bitcoin, and has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 14% year to date. And as of 5/4/2025, we hodl 555,450 Bitcoin acquired for 38.08 billion at an average price of 68,550 per Bitcoin. Right? This guy's just going to keep buying as long as people give him money. He's going to keep buying more and more. Eventually, I don't know when, but eventually he might get to 1 million Bitcoin with the company there. Also, Semler here. Semler Scientific acquires 167 Bitcoin for 16.2 million and has generated a BTC yield of 22.2% year to date, now holding 3,634 Bitcoin. Another company that's just continuing to buy as well. So this is all good news here, right? The more we get Bitcoin off the exchanges and into long-term hodlers, it's going to bode well for the Bitcoin price going up further in the long run. All right, finally, we have one story to talk about, which is Cleanspark. I saw this today from Rex Finance. He had a video out about it. There is a change.org going on to prevent Cleanspark's Bitcoin facility in Mountain City, so Tennessee. This is the city that they're trying to get like 50 some odd acres of land there, and then along with power connected to it. It's in still initial stages. They've gotten tentative approval from the city, but it looks like there might be some backlash from the residents. And the residents here are mainly misinformed. They don't know what this is going to entail. They're looking to put in a mining facility here that's going to be all immersion cooled, so no noisy fans. I think they stated that in the release there, that it would be equivalent to the traffic that you have on the highway, or it's called a highway, I think, next to it. So it wouldn't be that bad. But we'll see if this goes any further, or if there's going to be some contention from the residents on this getting through. It looked like the mayor there was pretty for it. We'll see if this maintains that way, or if it's going to change, and we'll find out. I think they have a meeting coming up here the 22nd of May, I believe. I could be off on the date there. I know that they got another meeting happening here in that time. So we'll see what happens with that for them. If this doesn't go through, I'm sure Cleanspark's going to be looking at other sites as well where they can grow their Bitcoin mining as well. So this might be just a little bump in the road, but we'll see. All right, next, let's get into the weekly performance of Bitcoin versus Bitcoin miners really quick, and then we'll get into Mawson and Riot at the end here, and we'll call it a day. So here's the Bitcoin versus miners for the from 52-week lows and from 52-week highs. Right, these kind of pinkish orangish bars are how far the miners are up from their 52-week lows, and then the yellow bars are how far away they are from the 52-week highs. So strategy has been outperforming here. The miners shares up 285% from the low. CORZ is second place here, up 165%. BitDeer up 109%. Bitcoin's up 87%. So only these guys have kind of outperformed here. Everybody else, Hut 8, Cypher, Bitfarms, Marathon, Hive, IREN, Cleanspark, and Riot have underperformed Bitcoin here in the last 52 weeks. You can see that Bitcoin's only about 11% away from reaching its new all-time high. So we're pretty close to that right now as it is. And then you got some that are like almost 70%. Bitfarms is ways away from where they were in the 52 weeks high period here, along with Hive, Cleanspark, BitDeer as well. So a lot of these guys still have a long ways to go to reach their even 52-week highs that they've had in the past. On it. Last week, though, if we look at that chart, we can see that Riot took the cake. Riot outperformed. Riot was up 8% last week. Strategy was up 7%. Core was up 5%. BitDeer was up 4%. Hut 8 was up 3%. Cypher was up 3%. Bitcoin was up 2%. So all of these guys have slightly to nicely outperformed Bitcoin. Well, we got Hive was basically 0. IREN was also basically 0, just a little negative there. Bitfarms was negative 1%, and Cleanspark was down 2% at that point. Looking at the 4 weeks chart, things look a little bit better for us. Bitcoin at this point is only up 16%. We have the majority of the miners here and strategy outperforming Bitcoin here, at least by a little bit, if not by almost a double. On some of these, except Hut 8 here. The best performer here has been BitDeer, up 38%, followed by Strategy, 31%, along with Cypher. And then we got Bitfarms being up 28%, and everybody else is like 21%, 17%, 16%, Core 24%, and Riot 19%. If we look at the 8 weeks chart, well, things look a little different again. Here, Bitcoin is up at that point 15%, and the only one that has done better than Bitcoin is Strategy. It's up 33%. Everybody else is underperformed. Biggest losers here from 8 weeks ago are IREN down 9%, Bitfarms down 8%. Closest one to Bitcoin is actually Cleanspark, up 11% here, along with Marathon being up 10%. Kind of the two pure play miners here. And then we got 12 weeks. Well, things look really bad. Bitcoin's down 1%. Everybody else is in the red. Multiples of where Bitcoin is down, and Strategy is actually up 17% here. So that's kind of how that played out. And here is the table for the green and red month or red weeks. We've had a little bit better streak here in the last, I would say, 2-3 weeks or so, in being in the green with the miners that we have in the last, I would say, 12 to 14, 16 weeks or something like that. So you can see all that, how that has played out. Okay, so kind of interesting to take a look at that. And then let's get into Mara here really quick on their update, and we'll get into Riot as well. So Mara obviously provides their Bitcoin production operations update for April 2025. Here's a couple of quotes from them. Management commentary: in April, our production saw a 15% month-over-month decrease in blocks 1, as global hash rate had its second largest monthly gain on record, and mining difficulty grew 8% from March. Said Fred Thiel, the CEO there, Mara's chairman and CEO. Despite these headwinds, our energized hash rate grew 5.5% over the prior month, which is actually really good. Right? We don't have any guidance from them as far as what their growth targets are for this year, but they just keep coming out pretty much month after month of increased hash rate growth. So that's nice to see. We completed a 50 megawatt expansion at our fully owned data center in Ohio, bringing total operational capacity to 100 megawatts, with the site designed to scale up to 200 megawatts. Additionally, we installed over 12,000 S21 Pro miners at that location. So at least we have something being reported as far as what they installed. In the past, they weren't really doing that. So I was going off some of the old data that I have here. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference there, but yeah. And then last month, we fully energized our 25 megawatt gas to power operations across wellheads in North Dakota and Texas. These sites currently provide us with our lowest cost per Bitcoin mined, while monetizing excess gas and mitigation methane emissions for the producers. So that's great. How much is that bringing on? I don't know. I don't think they provided that data as far as exahash and what their percentages of that joint venture there. And then lastly here, we remain laser focused on transforming Mara into a vertically integrated digital energy and infrastructure company. We believe this model gives us tighter operational control, improves cost efficiency, and makes us more resilient to shifts in the broader economy. Okay, there's some benefit to that, I will admit. But if their operations were a little bit better, I was surprised if their operations were down this much month over month here. Something else had to happen. I think there might be some curtailing happening, not just what happened with the network hash rate and difficulty increasing because they still increased their hash rate. But here's what we got. BTC produced was 705. This also includes their JVs as well. So without the JVs, there were like 688, 87. I can't remember. We'll look at my numbers here in a second. Average BTC produced per day was 23.5. So that's obviously down from the 26.8 that they had in March, right? April had one less day though. It was so that maybe can attribute to it, but shouldn't attribute that much. They should have been down only like 23 Bitcoin or something like that. From the, so they should have been still closer to like 800 Bitcoin mined. They're off by about 100 Bitcoin here. Quite a bit there. Energized hash rate 57.3. Before they were 54.3, so they added about 3 exahash on top of it, which is still good. And then here, as of April 30th, 2025, the company held a total of 48,237 Bitcoin. Mara opted not to sell any Bitcoin in April. They're still following kind of the strategy playbook here. We'll see the difference in Mara here on that happening. And then, so let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them. And then we'll get into Mara as well. So shares outstanding, last reported here. We'll get an update from them when they report their quarterly results. But what we have here is 345 million shares roughly. Stock price at 1309, market cap 4.5 billion, sorry. On that, the performance over the last 12 weeks, you can see has gotten better from 8 weeks onwards. But 12 weeks, they're down still on that. But things are improving here a little bit for that. The current hash rate, 57.3, right? Future hash rate, maybe around 57.7. I don't know exactly where they're going to be. I'm sure that's going to increase over time anyways. So right now, they're kind of fully installed until they install more hash rate, which I don't know when. This is interesting, right? BTC HODL 48,237 is valued at 4.5 billion, actually more than their market cap is. So their HODL to market cap is 100.68%. So are they being valued, and I keep saying this all the time, are they being valued on their HODL only and not their operations? Or are they being valued on their operations and not their HODL, right? Because this doesn't make any sense. They should be valued on what their operations are plus what their HODL is. And so based on that, they should be valued probably, closer to a double from where they are right now, just in general, right? So each share has $3.18 per share of HODL, and the stock is only $13.09. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. All right. Here's BTC self-mined. So yeah, I got them at 686.96 Bitcoin. If you take out the JV from Abu Dhabi, I think that's where it's at. So they're down quite a bit here, down 121 Bitcoin from last month, which is definitely quite a steep decline here. So I think there's something else going on. I think with some curtailing at some of the sites. Revenue here was down to 59.39, almost 10 million lower than where it was in March. BTC HODL has continued to increase. I mean, it's huge, right? They're the biggest miner with HODL right now as it is. Hash rate also the biggest right now. They're at 57 exahash here. They continue to increase on that as well. So that's great. I would just like to see operational uptime much better for them. Right, as I said, they didn't sell anything here. BTC per exahash efficiency was down to about 11.99. And BTC sold value, they didn't sell anything here or buy anything really on this month. Going downhill, we'll get into some of this stuff here in a second here, but institutions did continue to add into them. 590 institutions now. Shares went up also to 225 million. That now consists of 64.73% being owned by institutions. We still have 4 strong buy ratings, 2 buy ratings, and 9 hold ratings. 0 underperform, 0 sell ratings from the analysts, and price target of $30 for the high. Average actually went up a little bit for them to 22.65, and the low actually went down to 13 from 14, so slight decrease on that one. And then as far as the miners are concerned here, we had them mining approximately with these newer machines, right, about 230 terahash, I'm guessing there on those. I probably could update that to what the actual S21 Pros are, but we're pretty close on it. And we got them to, let's see here, April, operating for about 20 days on those, and then everything else was operating for about 22.285 days, which got us to 59.386 million, which is what I'm averaging based on Bitcoin price average for April on that. Also added about 1.3% for Bitcoin network transaction fees being added to that as well. All right, so based on those numbers here, if we take that, multiply it times the 12 months going forward, the right P of 15, we're looking at 1546 to 2318. They are slightly undervalued on that, not including their HODL, what they have, right? This is just for operations. So add their HODL on top of it, they should be more or less double from where they are right now. If we look at their numbers for the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we're in, or that we finished in April, once we get that updated, I believe we'll get some different numbers on this, but right now it's 1424 to 2135. They are undervalued, right? Just on operations themselves, they're undervalued. If you add in, on top of that, the HODL position, well, they're even way more undervalued. So make it make sense, right? Sometimes, well, they're also heavily shorted. I think the second one compared to Cleanspark. Cleanspark's number 1 that's the most shorted, and then Marathon's the next one after that. So I think that might be a reason for it. Yes, they do have also some debt there that's not due for a number of years from the convertible notes, but that's still several years out. So yeah, make it make sense if you can. All right, so that's it for Mara. One thing that I would just like to see is better uptime for them as far as mining operations. Their growth is great, everything else is great. It just sometimes we get these months where their production isn't up to par, or at least where it should be, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah, that's it on that one. Let's get into Riot here. Riot also provides their operational update for April. And here's what we got. So Bitcoin mine was 463, also down quite a bit from March, from 533. So that was also surprising. Bitcoin held is actually down to 19,211, down from 19,223. Bitcoin sold was 475, so they actually sold more than what they mined here for the month. Deployed hash rate still the same, 33.7 exahash. Average operating hash rate was down to 29.3, right? Not too, about 1 exahash lower. So yeah, definitely like to see that. Power credits did increase a little bit here, 2.7 million, and then demand response credits went up also to 1.3, so about 2 million. So they made about another 1.9 million from that, which is okay. And then their cost, all-in power cost was 3.7 cents more or less per kilowatt hour. So that's actually really good. A couple quotes here from Riot here. So Riot mined 463 Bitcoin in April as the network experienced 2 successive difficulty adjustments during the month. Said Jason Les, CEO of Riot. April was a significant month for Riot as we closed on the acquisition of all our tangible assets of Rhodium at our Rockdale facility, including 125 megawatts of power capacity, and mutually ended our all outstanding litigation. So that was good. But again, they're talking about network experience. It shouldn't have come down that much. Same thing with Mara for their operations. This transaction ends the hosting agreement with our last hosting client and marks the complete exit of Riot from the Bitcoin mining hosting business. Thank God. They're finally out of that. That was a money-losing business for them. They were charging Rhodium far less per kilowatt than what they were being charged themselves. So it was a deal that they basically bought when they bought the facility there, Rockdale. And because of that, they were kind of stuck to their contract until they finally said enough is enough, right? They kicked them out basically, and they went into litigation, and now they settled that, so that's done and over with. So it did cost them quite a pretty penny there, but at least they're done with it. No more losses for hosting. So that's good. During the month of April, we made the strategic decision to sell our monthly production of Bitcoin to fund ongoing growth and operations. We continuously evaluate the best funding sources, considering a multitude of factors and prioritizing a strong balance sheet. These sales reduce the need for equity fundraising, limiting the amount of dilution in our stock, which is fine. And we will continue to monitor market conditions on an ongoing basis and utilize all tools available to best sustainably finance our business while remaining committed to our long-term Bitcoin treasury strategy, reflecting our strong conviction in Bitcoin's future potential. So my question on that is, well, then why buy Bitcoin in December? That's the thing that kind of frustrates me about some of these miners is if you're going to do that all in. Go in kind of like strategy is all in. Or like Mara right now, at least for right now, is all in. Where they are just going to hodl everything. They are going to, try to stack as much Bitcoin as they can, regardless of the market. They're going to, dilute some. They're going to use the ATM. They're going to use convertible notes, whatever they can to continue to hodl as much. So that's why I'm not a big proponent of miners buying Bitcoin when they can actually mine it at a much lower cost. Unless you actually, I think, go all in like a strategy type of play. So you mine whatever you mine at a much lower cost, and you also buy on top of it to even increase your hodl at that point. Okay, fine. At least we know what you're doing. But this kind of back and forth, we're buying it, we're selling it. I don't know. I get their take that they don't want to dilute shareholders, which is fine. But then why buy it in the beginning? Well, you could have used that money that you got from the convertible notes to fund operations for the next year or so, plus grew whatever you wanted to, right? They got 500 some odd million out of that. So instead of buying Bitcoin at a higher price potentially, and now they're selling it at a lower price, or at least close to that price of where they bought in, I don't know, doesn't sit well with me. I don't know what you guys think about that though. All right, and then that's it. That's all we got is investor events here. So let's take a look at Riot here really quick, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A. So Riot right now has about 357 million shares outstanding, stock price 790, market cap 2.8 billion. Performance over the last 12 weeks, not great from 12 weeks ago, but getting better from 8 weeks, right? They're in the positive, 4 weeks they're positive, and then last week they were also positive. Current hash rate about 33.7, future hash rate, I think they're getting to like 34 exahash or something like that, so they're pretty close to being fully installed. Not much growth here from them this month over last month. Their Bitcoin HODL is 19,211. That's valued at 1.8 billion. So their HODL to market cap is 64.31%, and each share is about $5.08. So a lot better numbers here for their market cap compared to Mara. Right? Mara's HODL to market cap is over 100%. There's a 64%, so they're at least being valued. Maybe 64% of their market cap is their HODL position, and the rest is their operations. Okay, we can kind of understand that a little bit better than what Mara's getting valued at. Mara's doesn't make any sense here. All right, so there's that. And then BTC right down to 463. They were at 533 the month prior. Revenue also came down to 40 million, so about 5 million less from March, which was 45. And their Bitcoin HODL actually went down a little bit here. Not much. Went down, 13? What is that? 12 Bitcoin from March here. So they did sell a little bit more than they mined. Hash rate is still the same, 33.7 from what it was last month. And then BTC per exahash efficiency was 13.74 here. So a little bit better than what Marathon was at on it. And what else do we have here? Okay, we'll get into some of those numbers. Institutions here. Institutions did increase to 543. Shares increased nicely here, 231,550,000. That's now 60.55% owned by institutions. We have still 9 strong buy ratings, 6 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 0 underperform, 0 sells from the analysts. The Hive target went down a little bit here to 22 from 23. The average went down to 15.47 from 16.97, and the low stayed the same at $9. So we're still seeing institutions buying in, as even the price of these guys were coming down in April quite a bit to where they bottomed out here, possibly in the last 52 weeks. And institutions are still buying, so that bodes well. Institutions are going to be in there for a little bit longer time than some retail investors, which capitulated, unfortunately, and have sold at lower prices than they got in possibly, and they'll probably get back in, unfortunately, when the prices are higher again, when they see these things running again, sometime in the next 3, 6 to 9 months. But we'll see. Going down here for operations, I did have them running approximately 25.4 days out of the month here on average, and they did get the 1.3% fees for network transaction fees as well, which accounted for about 536,000 there roughly on it for them. And then based on that information multiplied times 12 months, we get them at $10.08 to $15.12 with a P of 15, right, going forward. They reported their numbers already here for Q1, which we should have the latest numbers for them here. Based on those numbers, we have them between 10 and 15, so kind of close to where we are right now as it is. So undervalued, yeah. Again, with them, it's the same thing. It's getting their operations to be closer to 100% uptime, which has been a challenge for them, but they have been getting better over time. When will they reach close to 100%? They don't have to reach complete 100%, but if they get to like 97%, 98% uptime, that would be great. And it would definitely generate them more Bitcoin, but they're also in a state where they might have to curtail. So that is what it is. Let me see. Is that it? That is it. Yeah. I mean, for them, like I said, the big thing is just to get their operations closer to 100%, and then continue to build out possibly. Right now, they're putting all their chips on HPC AI, and we'll see how they do with that. There's quite a few miners looking to get HPC AI deals. Which one will actually win out? Well, time will tell, I guess. But I'm still skeptical there. We might. Well, I won't even say it. We'll see what we get later on this year. But right now, I'm skeptical on it. All right, so that's it. All of the spreadsheets, updates, everything else. I'll get this out to you guys either later on tonight, depending. Yeah, I should be able to get it out later on tonight or tomorrow morning for you guys, for the Patreon members. If you want to become a Patreon member and help support the channel and what I do, you can do that and get access to all these spreadsheets and everything else for a very, very small fee per month. And link for that is down in the description. So that's all I got for you guys there. Let's get into Q&A, see what you guys have to say. And hopefully it's good stuff. All right, let's get into it. Here we go. Q&A, Bitcoin pops up. There it is. And the miners are, yeah, Bitcoin's down 0.63%. Okay. As always, with the questions, if you could preface your questions with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. I'm going to scroll my way up to see if there's any questions and work my way down as always. So bear with me. I will get to all your guys' questions. It's just going to take me a little time. Let's see. See if there's any questions here. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to catch up on the next little questions. Reading through them right now. Okay. All right. Netscape Navigator asks, is Bitcoin RSI cooled a bit? I'm guessing you're saying there. The RSI on Bitcoin, if we look at it, let me pull it up here really quick. The RSI is cooling on the daily a little bit. Oh, where do I want to go? I want to go here. Screen. All right, so that has cooled off here over the weekend. Obviously, we're down to 58. We were, getting close to that 70 mark here on it, but the price was also going up quite nicely here, as you can see that, compared to where we were on the RSI here. On the weekly, we're still good on the weekly. There's no problems there. 4 hours is coming down as well. 1 hour definitely came down here. We went up, and then we came down a little bit with price coming down. So we'll have to wait and see. We might be coming down a little bit based on at least the 1 hour chart on the RSI, at least right now. There is a potential we could come down. Where would we come down if that does happen? Well, I think the natural place would be probably around like 93,000, somewhere around here, I think. Kind of where we touched off over here. Then we might come down to that, retest it. And then if that doesn't hold, let's see, what else do we have here? That's kind of a natural support there after that. After that, I think probably around 92,500 would be a natural support for it. So we'll see on that one. Might need a little pullback to get another little leg up a little bit. We'll see. Okay. All right. Sarah Melling Gaming says red all week. So red next week too. All month will be red. Sideways summer, small pump, end of year, then winter. We'll try again next cycle. CEOs won, investors lost, companies grew free off of us. That is some people think that as well. You're not the only one there. I tend to believe the opposite is still going to happen, but time will tell. Right, I still think we might get a pump here later on this year, reaching new all-time highs, possibly even higher. I think the cycle is different from what it was in the past. It might be an extended cycle as well, but we'll see. All right, let's see. Sean has a question here. Hello, in your opinion, after the earnings report for Riot and everything they are acquiring, do you have a price prediction? Well, what are they acquiring? They acquired their bad customer that they had there for hosting, which they overpaid for that. But that's just, to make it go away. I can understand that. And they're acquiring some more land around Corsicana facility as well. That should give them a little bit more optionality as far as if they want to get a HPC AI hyperscaler in there, they could, depending how they want to build out, if they want to go up 2-3 stories, or if they want to build out, big ways, sideways. So that gives them a little bit more optionality there. We'll see if they can get something for it. If they get an HPC AI tenant in there, whatever deal they work out, that's going to be that's going to be really good for those stock, but we're going to need that. But that's still going to be a couple years out before that's done, right? The building and everything else is going to take at least probably 1.5 to 2 years to do. I think they're going to go up in price if Bitcoin continues to go up as well. They have a large hard position as well, and their mining operations have been improving, and they're pretty large, right? 37 exahash, whatever they're at right now, 33 actually, 33 something. So that's still really good. That is probably the 4th largest there. I think after Marathon's the top one, then Cleanspark, and then IREN, and then would be Riot on top of that. So that should bode well. But as far as price targets for them, I would say follow Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes 2x. I would expect them to do at least a 3x at the bare minimum, right, from where they are right now. So that's kind of the way I would look at it. If you get more than that, that's all gravy. And then if you get an HPCI deal, that's also a big bonus there. So that's the way I would look at it. See, MuttX says, instead of asking for price predictions, why not just ask for a lottery draw numbers instead? Good comparison, I think. I think there's more likelihood that the price prediction or price estimates might get closer to what my lottery number picks would probably get. There's a one in like a billion something chances of me picking the right numbers on the lottery ticket. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's not easy, right? I could be definitely wrong on that. All right, let's see. What else we got here? All right. MicroStrategy, he is buying with people's money, not his own. He don't care if BTC goes to zero. Well, I think he does care because that's his reputation is on the line there. So he's going to do everything he can to make sure Bitcoin goes up in the long run. But you also have to look at it. I mean, it's definitely a different approach than anybody else has had. Will it work out for him? It looks like right now it is, right? Unless Bitcoin goes to zero, then it doesn't work out for him or the miners or anybody else. Bitcoin becomes nothing, and it was all a waste of time for us. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think he's going to be fine there. As long as Bitcoin stays above, 63,000, whatever their average is, he should be fine there. Okay. Sebastian, dude, your long short stats are always like a month behind. The data that I get for the shorts, data comes out like a week and a half to 2 weeks after they're supposed to be in. If you have better data as far as where I can get that data, let me know. I'll pull that data in then. I'm using right now Webull, and Webull reports the middle of the month, which is then like a week or two after that, and then the end of the month, which is also like a week or two at the end of the month. So it's always a little bit delayed there, yeah. Okay, what else we got here? Let's see, all the miners are producing less per exahash in April difficulty. Yes, that is part of it, but also depends on if they curtailed, whatever, right? We're getting into the warmer months now where we do typically see the miners curtail more so. So we'll see. So our Melon says miners are pure dilution scams. They have diluted a lot. I will give you that. Let's see. Wes says you should listen to Power Mining Analysis interview with Jason to see his explanation of buying. I did watch it. I still don't. You guys know how I feel. I'm not a big fan of companies buying Bitcoin when they're actually mining it at a much lower cost, unless you're going in for like the full-on MicroStrategy playbook. Right? If you're doing that, okay, well, at least we know what you're doing. You're going to hodl everything. You're going to stack everything. All right, that's your playbook. But don't buy Bitcoin then just to later on sell it. You could use the money for something else. That's at least my thoughts on it. Could be wrong. Could be right. Time will tell. Let's see. Mahmoud says all the miners capitulate. Now they give up. I wouldn't say all. Some have kind of, what's what I'm looking for? Some have voiced their methodology more so than others as far as what they're going to be doing. Some have continued to sell. Some have, I would say, I mean, there's only been, 3 miners that have actually bought, I think. It was Mara that bought, Riot, and Hut 8 that have bought Bitcoin. Everybody else did not do that. They continue to just operate and sell Bitcoin, or they continue to operate and hold Bitcoin, and then eventually they transition over to selling Bitcoin. All right, so there's different ways you can play it, as always. It's just how do you convey that information to investors and what your paths are forward. Right? If you're saying you're going to do one thing and then changing a little bit on the later on, I'm not for that. See, Chris says Ride buys BTC at 100,000 and sells BTC production at 90,000. Oh, amazing. Yeah, that's kind of the way I think of it also. Okay, Tyler's got a question here. What are you looking forward to most in Cleanspark's earnings? What will send us up and down? I think most of the stuff is already priced in. We've seen this even with Riot. Riot numbers came in pretty bad, but I think it was priced in that Bitcoin was going to come down in values on their balance sheet. The valuation on the Bitfarms shares that they have is going to come down, so I think that was kind of priced in as well. The only thing that I'm kind of looking to see is were they able to squeak out a positive EPS without the FASB being included in that? So basically, if you take out the FASB part of it, were they still positive on the EPS, which they've kind of hinted that they should be in the first quarter. We'll see if that is the case. If that is the case, it might be actually a good sign there, but that might, maybe inch the stock up a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. Minor Dijon says this BTC cycle has been truly pathetic. It has. It has been completely different from the other cycles. 2017, 2021 cycle, completely different this time around. Right, the miners are not acting like they have in those 2 cycles, basically. And Bitcoin is not acting the way it has in the past also. Right, we talked about this, that Bitcoin now is in these longer duration sideways movements and corrections, whereas before, when we were in a bull run and a major pump happening, we would be up 30, 40, 50%, maybe even higher, and then we come down 30, 35% within a couple of days and go back up and go up another 60, 70, 80%. And then do another 30, 35% retracement in a couple of days and then be up again. This time around, we go up and then we have an extended drawdown period where we accumulate and go down 30%. We've seen this already twice. This time now, from the beginning of the year to now, and last year as well, after Bitcoin reached 73,000, previous to the halving event, and then it came down for 4 or 5 months, something like that, before it started going back up. So it is completely different. Okay. Tyler says, miner DGen BTC MicroStrategy has been great. It has definitely done a fantastic job this year and even last year. Miners all, it's disappointing. Yep. Okay. Are institutions still buying miners? Still, yeah. I mean, we're seeing it with Riot, Mara. We've seen it also with Cypher as well. So they are still buying in. At least the ones that have reported here recently. Even Bitfarms was up a little bit, I believe. I'll have to double check that. I'm just going off memory here. All right. What did Mara sell off the most, and you still bullish on it? Or why did Mara sell off the most? Mara was down. Let me see here. Was down 9%. Yeah, I think it was just the operations. The Bitcoin mining was down quite a bit, more so than people were probably expecting it to be down. I think that's the only reason there. And if you look at their valuation here, the valuation is crazy. It should be much higher from where it is right now. Tyler says, keep up the good work, Seb. Appreciate you. I appreciate you guys coming in as always. Okay. What are your top indicators for BTC price, top the cycle, Pi cycle, M2 supply, Rainbow? I mean, all those things. But we'll keep an eye on everything there that we can on it. We'll also have the power law to look at. There's also another one there. There's quite a few that we can look at. But all of those things, look at all of them as much as you can and see where we are in each of those and then try to make your best guess as far as where's the top on it. But then again, this cycle, like I said, it could be an extended cycle. So what might seem like a top might actually be a point of where we get a correction, come down 30%, 35%, and then go back up even more. Keep an eye on that as well. All right. Can IREN go to 15 by July, August? Bitcoin would have to go up to 150,000 within that time frame, I think, for these guys to go up double from where it is right now, roughly, right? IREN is right now, if I look at it, IREN is at $6. Yeah, that'd be close to 2.5x, basically. So, yeah, I think Bitcoin would have to go, closer to 150,000. Let's see, DeFi. What lot are bullish on IREN, but has sold off massively, even compared to other big miners? Yeah, IREN, I think, got put in the same basket as some of the other miners that are going for HPCI deals. Rightfully so or wrongfully so, I'm not sure. I think wrongfully so. Their operations are still great. They're, increasing their hash rate tremendously. It's like they really shouldn't be put in that bucket just yet. But yeah, I mean, they got taken down just like with the rest of them. All right. Do you think we should take into account companies' debt when companies' BTC treasuries reserves? Yeah, I do think so. But the debt is not out until, what is it, 3 years, 5? Mara's case, I think it's 2030. So it's like 5 years out. So yeah, but that's going to be down the road. Could they pay that off faster? Yes. Could they also, with Bitcoin going up, right? So Bitcoin goes up, look at that as well. So, but then you continue on here. Indeed, Mara has huge HODL, but on the other hand, it has huge debt. Thanks for the work. Yeah. But they also have a lot of infrastructure as well. Assets, land, power, all that stuff. It's not being valued for all those things. Let's see. Which miners are the most undervalued? Right now, it would have to be probably like Hive, Bitfarms. But they're not getting the love. They've been beaten down too quite a bit. After that, you got probably Cleanspark, IREN, and then probably Mara. I would say Cypher in there as well. Those are the ones that I can think of at the top of my head here really quick. All right. Tom Harrison, you have the patience of job, just the tone and aggressiveness of some of the comments and questions. You are a true gentleman. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Brendan says, I think every miner that's bought Bitcoin has went ahead and sold it for less after the fact at some point in time. I don't know. I'm trying to think of last cycle. Last cycle we had, I don't know who bought. I'm not sure if Bitfarms bought also, and then they sold it at a much lower price. I know Mara bought like 4,000 last cycle, but they were also, they weren't selling. I'd have to go back to my data and all that stuff to see if they were actually selling. But there were other miners. IREN, right? I mean, a lot of them got in trouble because of the debt. The debt was oh gosh, the debt was covered by Bitcoin. So as the price of Bitcoin was coming down, they had the debt, they had to sell off the Bitcoin to pay off the debt. So we saw a lot of that happening there. Argo, Bitfarms, Core Scientific last cycle. Who else? Mawson, others as well. I mean, there was a slew of miners that got really, really hurt in, that was 2022 when Bitcoin was coming down. So that's the reason why a lot of them had to sell at that point. Tom says, Seb is the man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Gary says, Cleanspark lost money mining in Q4, going to be close in Q1. Breaking even in the bull market isn't great after huge losses in a bear market. Yeah, but at least it's an improvement, right? I keep saying that these guys have to get to scale mining, whether it's 50 exahash, 75 exahash, whatever it might be. They need to get to scale because then that kind of solves all the other costs associated with the mining that as your revenues grow from getting to scale, those regular costs, SG&A, overhead, all those things should stay relatively low, or not low, but should stay more consistent, right? There shouldn't be huge spikes up and down from it. That should help them be profitable going forward. DFly asks, are you still buying miners? Are you still super bullish as you were initially? I'm still super bullish for this cycle. I don't think the cycle has ended yet, and then we might have an extended cycle as well. I've talked about that plenty of times. I'm still super bullish. I still haven't bought. I haven't bought anything here in the last probably 4 to 6 weeks, I think. And the only reason is because I had to pay Uncle Sam a lot more than I thought. If that wasn't the case, I'd probably be dumping a bunch of money into the miners as they were going down, but I wasn't able to, unfortunately. So I'm trying to rebuild my cash position. Once I do that, I will be buying into the miners again. If they're as long as they're like down in these levels still. Okay, talked about that. What is the MAR update I just got here? Is it going back to $9? No, I don't think it's going back down to 9. Bitcoin goes down, then yeah, it'll probably go back down to 9, but not anytime soon. The quicker you realize all the miners are trash, investment and fundamentals mean nothing, the better off you'll be. That might be the case, right? I could be wrong on all this stuff here. I'm just giving you guys my thoughts, where I see things. I could be definitely off 100% wrong. And right, that's why I tell you guys this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment only. This is just my thoughts on it. We can agree and we can also disagree. And that's perfectly fine. And it's actually good that we do have dissenting voices here. It's not all pumpers and everything else. So I greatly appreciate you coming in here, miner. All right. What are you forecasting for tomorrow's earnings? Pretty similar price action to last earnings if you look at the chart. Yeah, I'm not expecting a huge move on the price of their stock here going forward. I think the valuation they're going to get for Bitcoin, HODL is going to be obviously way down because Bitcoin price came way down as well. And they have a huge HODL position, so that's going to definitely beat them down there. But I think that's maybe why the stock is where it's at right now. I think it's kind of priced in. Revenues, I mean, revenues did improve, I believe, over the prior quarter here if we look at them. Let's see, where do I have them at here? No, actually, yeah, revenues did improve a little bit. So based on my numbers here, at least, if we look at that, you can see Q4 for them was 207 million roughly, right? They came in at 204. I was off by a little bit here. I'm thinking they're going to be around 211 million for March. So they're up a little bit, but not great. Excuse me, just a little percentage gain, but still up. But the HODL position is going to be the one that, is going to be bad for them based on the amount of HODL that they have. Sorry, I got to take a sip of water here. My throat's going to get dry. All right, sorry about that. Let's get back into it. I think we're getting close to catching up on all the questions here. Okay, Sauer says, about to start offloading my shares at 60% profit and get the L out of these stocks. I mean, yeah, if you're in profit, no shame in taking profits there. I say it all the time. If you're in profit, definitely take profits. Okay, let's see. Gary says, scale only helps if in a big site, adding small sites does add a little extra cost. But how much does that cost there to have somebody or even two people run between 2 different sites or 3 different sites that are within an hour and a half or whatever it might be of each other? So you're not adding a heck of a lot of cost there. Based on that, when I was mining back in 2017, 2018, and through almost 2021, at times we were not running. We had a small site, but that one was pretty much automated. I had the fans on auto. I had CCTVs, basically security cameras in there as well. I could see what's going on. I could see what the heat is. I could see the miners from home. it was pretty much, unless the miner actually went down, that's the only time I had to go in there and, change out a board or change out a fan on the thing, and it would be running by itself pretty much. It's not like you need to babysit them that much. Yes, they have a lot more, so you probably do need, one or two people, maybe even three people to manage 3 sites that are locally nearby to each other. So then you're gonna have some people there. So, but still, it's still a small amount there, I think. Let's see. Okay, Tom Harrison has a question. Seb, have you ever read the books Atlas Shrugged? I have not. I've heard about that one before as well from others. I'll make a note of it. I'm going to be on vacation here coming up in a couple of weeks. I may buy the book just to read it on my vacation, so I got something to do while laying on the beach there. Atlas Shrugged. If I can spell properly. Book. Okay. All right. Got it written down. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate it. I will take a look into it. All right. What else we got here? Which miners is your top? My top buys are Cleanspark, IREN right now. I got into Mara just a little bit as well. And then I still own a bunch of Bitfarms shares as well. But I'll be buying more Cleanspark and IREN right now. Okay, question, are the AI consultants being paid by Bitfarms actually technically consultants or just being paid to find some business leads? I don't know. I think they are actual consultants based on what I read. They said consultants, right? Consultancy firms, something like that. So I think they were consultants there. DeFly, how we go from 80 price target for IREN to $15. I think when BTC was around 80,000 level, you said you could go up to $80, goes to 140,000. What's changed? All the miners' price predictions is down X, Y. Yeah, very good question there. And the reason they're down is I'm being more conservative. I don't want to. I've gotten flack for being a pumper, basically for saying they should be much higher. This is where I think they should go. So I'm trying to lower expectations. If we can get to at least those things, and then we go above much higher, I think that's great. I do think that these guys should be valued much, much higher than where they are right now. And that is based on the prior cycles that we saw. But this cycle is different. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe they don't do what I think they were going to do like last cycles. And we have to kind of clamp down on the expectations maybe a little bit, right? So I'm saying if Bitcoin goes 2x, I think the miners will do at least at 3x. Could they do more than that? Yes, I do. I seriously do think they could do more. How much more? Well, that's for anybody to guess, I guess. Last cycle we saw, like I've said before, Mara from the bottom to the top went 70x. Riot went to like 40 some x, right? So it just all depends and it's relative to where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin still hasn't really gone like parabolic on us. We've had these kind of pumps where we've gone up, and then we've had this longer extended time frame where Bitcoin goes sideways and down actually, which last cycles we didn't have either. So now during those longer extended cycles or downtrends, the miners actually go down more because Bitcoin's not pumping that hard. So maybe when we do get Bitcoin to pump really hard, they will finally follow suit. But we'll see. Hundo Rick asked, when will Mara hit 30 again? I think Bitcoin's got to be 125, 150,000, whatever it's going to be. I think we can get back up there. Deflate says, we love you. Thanks for the live streams. Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, press me on some of these questions. I don't mind it, right? You guys are keeping my feet to the fire, so that's fine. Love Guru says, peace, everyone. I guess you're heading out. Maybe go in bed. Wish you a good night. Thank you for coming in, as always. And then, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pronounce your name there. Question, may stocks pump on Wednesday after FOMC meeting? Well, I mean, if we get a rate cut, stocks will pump, right? Depending on the tone of Fed Powell, right? So is he hawkish? Is he dovish? What is the tone there? What are they thinking? Are they thinking of, lowering interest rates later on? We'll have to look at that plot that they have to see which governors are looking at what are they thinking? Should they lower rates or not? That'll be also quite telling there. Let's see, Wes Clark, thanks for the info. Absolutely. Sorry, says more reds coming. We'll see what the FOMC says. We could be right or it could be again. We'll find out at that point. But I think we'll call it a day here. It's been Second Serve. Thanks, Seb. Good show as always. Appreciate it. Thank you as always. Yeah, we'll call it a day. We'll see what happens. Oh, we got tomorrow. Tomorrow we got some Cypher reporting in 8 hours, basically. They're going to be reporting. Then the next day we got Core reporting their quarterly results, followed by that Hut 8 on the May 8th reporting. Cleanspark is reporting also the May 8th and more. So we're going to have a busy week here with quite a few. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reporting their quarterly results. Okay, so stay tuned for that. We'll cover that every night as always. And we'll see where Bitcoin goes, miners, where they go later on tomorrow. And we'll see. All right, let's see where I want to go. I want to go here. So wish you guys a great night. Thank you again for coming in as always. Love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.